Senator, do you agree with President Trump that given what's at stake for the country, that it's time for Republicans to consider dumping out of the filibuster rule, because the Democrats are obviously going to dump out of it themselves the next chance they get and run the table, well, regardless of what Republicans do?
No, I don't agree with him. I'm not ready to get rid of the filibuster or the blue slip. I don't know what the Senate in the next Congress is going to look like. I think Republicans will hold the Senate. I think what President Trump is really frustrated about is the fact that the Senate's not doing anything, and he's right. We haven't done anything. We passed the one big beautiful bill, which we would not have been able to do without the president's involvement. And since then, we've done nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. In fact, we had a meeting. Every time I brought up the idea of doing a second reconciliation bill where we don't need Democrats, our leadership just ignores me. And I don't blame the president for being frustrated. He's frustrated that we're not getting up off our ice cold lazy butts and passing bills that would be part of his agenda. And frankly, I don't blame him for feeling that way.
Hold on one second. We're about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we're doing over here, baby. Let's go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And I've been sitting here trying to figure out what to look into, because, quite frankly, the news is being dominated by really two topics: the government shutdown and Jews. I'm sorry, that's it. And the government shutdown is shut down, and the false anti-Semitic crap is just ratcheting up. And what we're seeing all over the place is the pushback on it from people repelling that attack against America. We saw the Heritage Foundation bow down yesterday to those attacks. And I said yesterday, it's one of those things where if we would fund the nonprofits ourselves that are Christian nonprofits and liberty-based nonprofits, then they wouldn't have to kowtow and kiss people's behind because they're worried about donations. But, we won't do that as a nation, but we'll give money to people who want to transition children and smuggle children. So there's really nothing you can say about that one. And so I'm turning my attention to Nigeria and what's going on in Nigeria with Donald Trump threatening to invade Nigeria, which I think is one of the better things that he's doing. You get to the point to where you can only call balls and strikes. Like the news yesterday was Nancy Pelosi retiring, and Trump saying she's evil, which she is an evil person. She does do evil things. And him being honest about it. But it doesn't go far enough. The honesty, in my opinion, goes nowhere near far enough. And more importantly, the accountability is not there. And I don't know what to say. Like there's no way that Alexander Soros and George Soros should not have been drugged before Congress. Those are the people who finance all the stuff that tried to get the president murdered. Those are the people who finance all the riots, all the destruction. There's no way. I'm sorry. There's just no way that the FBI shouldn't investigate and arrest them. Like now, there's no excuse for it. There's nothing. There's really nothing to say. I'm sorry. I don't know what to. I don't know. I want to tell you, but there's nothing. There's no excuse for that. And so sitting here talking about it, you end up having to make excuses to justify it, and there's no excuse. I'm sorry. There's no excuse. So to Nigeria, this is what's going on.
Closed its border with Nigeria due to the U.S. invasion threat, with fears that terrorist elements might try to flee into Chad during a potential conflict. It has, however, brought a common ground for some armed groups in the country, as southern-based groups have said they will fight if American military sets foot on ground to disrespect the country's sovereignty. Whatever these actions are leading to, the ultimate should be that the over 2 decades of senseless killings across the country be brought to an end. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olaniyi, Rion, World is One.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu is hoping to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump, who earlier threatened military action over alleged killing of Christians. The U.S. President says he has asked the Pentagon to map out a possible plan of attack. Trump's warning came a day after he had said that Christianity was facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Trump said if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the United States will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. He then went on to mention the possibility of a military action to wipe out Islamic terrorists who are committing horrible atrocities. Nigerians have had a varied reaction to Donald Trump's threats, with some welcoming assistance, while the government officially refutes his claims and questions the underlying motives and characterization of Nigeria.
U.S. strike or military infantry intervention is going to be the solution. It's welcome. It's welcome. What we want is peace.
Trump's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, responded to Trump's post saying that his department is preparing for action. He added, either the Nigerian government protects Christians or we will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. They did not add how U.S. will target these alleged terrorists. Nigerian President Bola.
I said this and I'll say it again. The best way to send a sign to Islamicist terrorists is to kill them when they kill Christians. It cannot be you kill Christians and get away with it, because you've let so many of them into this nation. You need to send a sign that, damn, they overdid it in Nigeria. And it wouldn't take long to do it. This is the craziest thing. It wouldn't take long to wipe them people out. You don't have to put boots on the ground in Nigeria to wipe them people out. Fly a plane over, get all the signals intelligence. Fly planes over, get everything you need, bomb the shit out of them, and be done with them. It'd be done with them. And Chad is right to close his borders and say, no, y'all can't run over here and give us this smoke. As a Christian nation, you have to send the message that you defend your faith. It just point blank, period. Failure to do so will lead to even more problems here at home. Now, I'm pretty sure there's people inside the Pentagon or people inside of the White House saying, well, we have all these Muslims here in America and they can get upset. Who cares? I don't care. You shouldn't care. You shouldn't give a damn, quite frankly. The simple fact that 80% of the white young females decide they were going to side with Muslims, it's a farce. They're feminists. They're retarded. And they've been weaponized. So you know what you do? You go wipe them out. Completely and totally. And then if anybody else pop their head up anywhere else, you wipe them out. Completely and totally. And that's that. Now, I fully anticipate the same thing that happened in Venezuela, where people like Russia told the Venezuelan Maduro that he's going to give him long-range missiles to defend his nation. I fully anticipate another international power interjecting itself in a Nigerian issue. Probably China, if they haven't already injected themselves and they're saying, no, you're going to leave Nigeria alone. We're going to support Nigeria. Why? Because they support the murder of Christians. And as you see these signs, then you know what this war is. It's spiritual warfare in the news. And I'm almost at the point now where it's getting just disgusting to watch. Like, I turn on people I respect and listen to them, and they hitting all the nails on the head. They're hitting everything. Boom, 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 boom. They hitting them all. Boom, 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 boom. And the solutions that they have are accurate solutions, but the solutions are not really outsourcing any intelligence from anywhere. I mean, it's outsourcing human intelligence, but it's not outsourcing a whole bunch of spiritual intelligence. And so it's just people just talking at each other. Da, 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 blah, blah. Did you see this person said this? Oh, the Democrats said this. Did this say this? I can't do that, bro. It's disgusting. It's stupid. And I know a part of the information war is to get the information out there to people so they'll know. But quite frankly, the lines have been drawn in the sand. That's the one thing that New York showed us. The lines have been drawn in the sand. You know who the enemies of America are. It's exactly what I showed you on the Miro board. Hold on. Let me see if I can get in the Miro. Let me pause this. I'll be right. Here's our Miro board that we had. It looks kind of schizophrenic because we were tracking the news, because the events, they just mapped themselves out for you, right? And we said this was the union that was going against America. It was Islam, it was wokeism, it was LGBTQ, and it was wokeism. This being the woke family, this being the woke white female. That whole thing, this whole wokeism is Marxism and communism. And they partner with Islam. It's really that simple. And so when you start to look at every event, you have basically the worshipers of Baal and Astra fighting against America, Christians. And if we're going to keep it real, there are some scholars that say that as the Jewish community rejected Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, the God that they worship is Baal as well, or Baal as well. Now, there are people who argue that and be like, no, they say they worship Yahweh, whatever. Jesus says there's one way. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man gets to God except through me, to Yahweh, Jehovah, except through me. So the issue is, do you believe what Jesus said or not? Is he credible or not? That's what it boils down to. That's what all of this boils down to. If you believe he's credible, then if you believe he died on the cross for your sins, if you believe that 400 people witnessed his resurrection, then he's the most credible figure there is, God in the flesh, and he points to the kingdom of God. And so if you have not accepted him, then who are you worshiping? Because he said there's only one way. But nobody wants to have these conversations. And so to sit here and listen to everything that happens and watch everything that goes on from an eagle-eyed view, it's extremely obvious. Just like we predicted this. We said Islam versus the world. And we traced Sadiq Khan and everything that happened with Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan becoming mayor of London. Protests breaking out. Sharia law being in the streets of Australia. And we said the same thing was coming down the pipeline with Zohran Mamdani. I called it. Called it for what it was. It's right there in front of you. It's not like it's rocket science at all. It's blatantly obvious what we're dealing with. So it's one of those plays where we can track the Nigerian thing if you want to. The Nigerian thing is the exact same thing. It's the gods of Nigeria, which they will allow Baal, as who Allah is Baal. They will allow Baal to come in and persecute and kill and sacrifice Christians. That's all it is to it. But the issue is the gods of that land, refuse to defend Christianity. Those old gods. And that's what it is.
Tinubu had earlier pushed back on Trump, announcing the day before that he was designating the West African country a country of particular concern for allegedly failing to rein in the persecution of Christians. In a social media statement on Saturday, Tinubu said that the characterization of Nigeria as a religiously intolerant country does not reflect the national reality. Several U.S. lawmakers, including Senator Ted Cruz, had claimed that Christian genocide and persecution in Nigeria has been on the rise. Nigeria is divided between a Muslim-majority north and a largely Christian south. Figures show that between 2019 and 2023, nearly 17,000 Christians were killed in the country. In just the first 7 months of this year, more than 7,000 victims have been reported. However, experts say that the violence is indiscriminate.
And you see, the worst part is the media everywhere is the same way. He just admitted that they're killing Christians. He just admitted it. 17,000, 7,000 this year, but experts say the violence is indiscriminate. What? So indiscriminate means they just killing people. Those people just so happen to be Christians. But you notice he didn't say how many Muslims were killed by Christians. He didn't say how many Muslims were killed by Christians, because it's not the other way around. And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem, because the Christianity that we have today is a weak version of Christianity. Oh, what do you mean? Jesus is weak? No. It's a weak brand of Christianity that has been pushed down the throats of everybody. You got to remember, Christianity was the ones who, through the Crusades, pushed back Islam. In Ethiopia, they pushed back Islam. Christianity, this version of Christianity, the real version of Christianity, conquered Rome. That version, that brand, the brand that is based upon sacrifice, being willing to die, which is what Charlie Kirk did, and then the one that's based upon waging war, being ready to take a life to defend your brothers and sisters in the faith, is gone. We've been replaced with one where you drink lattes and you have coffee in church and you have life groups and you sit around at home and you talk about a bunch of fucking nothing. And you sit back and you watch people get slaughtered because they're not the same skin color as you. The kind that is, the parents are so cowardice that they won't pray for their children, that they don't teach their children how to pray. The parents are so cowardice that when the school does something stupid, when the school brings LGBTQ in, the parents don't rise up and say, hey, we not having this crap in our schools. We are cowards. I'm sorry. And I say we because the Lord has accused me of being a coward before. I gave him my word he'll never have that ability to accuse me of being a coward again. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing it. And so therein lies the problem with Christianity in the world right now. We the problem. We the damn problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears for about a week. Because it's almost impossible to keep covering this without being angry. Like, I don't know if you guys see the pre-programming for the Supreme Court to not side with Donald Trump. I don't know if you've seen that yet. Ben Shapiro came out with the pre-programming of it. The same Ben Shapiro that called Christians anti-Semitic. He came out with the pre-programming on CNN. Well, you know, how is Donald Trump going to explain when the Supreme Court doesn't side with his tariffs and the stock market rallies? How's he going to explain that? But if you see with spiritual eyes, you see the programming. You see it. It's right there. It's like bing, 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 bing. Because there's a whole battle being fought. And I know the reason why I see it is so I'm the pray, so I can pray about it, and so I go pray. I just happen to talk about it to you guys as an outlet, basically. But you see the programming. That's why yesterday in prayer we appealed to the Supreme Court of Heaven that the Supreme Court of Heaven will deal with the Supreme Court of the United States of America, because they're a bunch of damn retards and a bunch of sellouts and a bunch of cowards to boot. All of them. All you Republicans, cowards to boot. Well, why do I say that? I'll explain to you why. They haven't come to the realization that their enemy wants to kill and jail and destroy them. The devil comes not but to steal, kill, and destroy. You watch the theft. The government shutdown exposed the stealing. All the people being on SNAP benefits and on Medicare and Medicaid that are not American citizens. The devil comes not but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. What's about to happen in New York? But our politicians are Christians in name. That's it. They C&E Christians. Christmas and Easter Christians. Because they come from C&E churches. Christmas and Easter churches. The biggest time of the year is Christmas and Easter. That's when everybody come to church. It's C&E. That's what it is. So, yeah. I'm about to start doing a few more spiritual warfare stories. And you'll enjoy this. If you listen to me, and listen to me right now, I'm good at being a pundit, but I'm a master storyteller. That's undisputed about me. Sorry, it's undisputed fact. And I'm going to take a little break from this aspect of it. You'll still get some of it, but we about to blend it all in together. Because lessons are learned in storytelling. Lessons aren't learned in just saying, hey, look at this. Look at it. All right. See y'all on the next video. The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters. I'm out of here.